Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan, and I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
And Dave.
What's up?
This is going to be our last episode of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
No,
that is true.
Just like, yep, that is a statement of fact, Morgan. Just like, no, like, oh yeah, some not reflective tones or anything like that, Dave. Nothing. Just
nope.
Fact. Correct. Can't wait.
I'm done with 2016, man.
We're all done with 2016. That's not a statement on that. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's important. We should reflect upon the year and how mostly garbagey it was. But I had to get married, so that was great. And you had a kid. That was great.
Son. Yeah, that was good. But
so, what'd you do?
That was kind of like a sandwich. It's like that's the good meat and like just a crappy, like moldy bun. Of crappiness of 2016.
It's true.
So this is the part where I read the Charlie Brown Christmas Linus monologue, right? Because I read the Thanksgiving one for the last one. So
you're supposed to just have it queued up.
And there were in the same. No, I do have it queued up, but I'll be nice to. What did I do this year? Like what? Like you want me to like compare some?
Yeah, like what was your your accolade? Not necessarily magic related, but just like your accolade in your life, if you had one. What was the redeemable moment of 2016?
There's some work-related stuff I'm kind of happy about, but I guess I won't discuss here.
That's all we need to know.
Sorry, everybody.
Cool work stuff.
I top 8 at 2 opens, and I went to the Pro Tour.
Yeah, those are cool things, too.
There, I'll say that.
Those are magic-related.
Yeah, I
don't really have any magic-related accolades. I, like, played Magic, and I had a good time. That's about it.
I mean, you also had, like, that one good haircut you got this year.
Oh, yeah, I had a good haircut.
And you got married, I guess.
Yeah, no, I already said that.
I know, but, like, the haircut was pretty good.
I did go to Harry Potter World again. That was pretty awesome.
I'm pretty jealous of that.
Yeah, so that's great. I want to go back every moment I exist. So,
my wife threw me a really awesome surprise birthday party for my 30th last week.
Yeah, and he figured out literally moments before we arrived at the venue.
You know, they did a really good job, and it was awesome. And then all Magic friends were there, and other good friends, and a lot of family, and we ate a lot of good food and drank some wonderful beverages, and she did a really good job pulling that off. That was awesome.
Played many games involving many faces of a dice, which was fantastic.
Man. Yeah, that was really good. That was a good way to sort of go into, like, being 30, because I turned 30 here on the 28th. So my wife did it a little bit early because I have a couple holidays that I have to compete with. Boxing Day is really close to my birthday.
That's very true.
So
that's hard. I mean, all of our Canadian friends, it's, you know, they really want to, you know, get together on that day. So it's really hard for us to plan.
A British thing too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
correct.
Yeah.
You know, they came.
Oh, like British Columbia.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's where it comes
that's
from.
kind of like both. Right?
Yeah. So we do have a few things to talk about. Community segment, obviously. Some new spoilers we want to talk about. Some funny things that happen on Magic Online. Then we have our competitive segment that we want to talk about because we had the 2016 and final Players Championship. Before we dive into that, I do want to give a quick shout out to Comic Town. They are a lovely sponsor for this episode and you know, pretty much all of our episodes up to this for the longest time. They actually have a new website, so that's probably why you didn't hear the typical you know, ad that you get before the show. It is worldofcomictown.com. Correct? Yes, worldofcomictown.com. Not comictown.net. But of course, they're still on Facebook, so you can just do a quick search for, you know, Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook and still be able to you know, check out the events and, you know, special promotions that they do. And you know, that's probably two of the best ways to get in contact with them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the community segment. So first and foremost, we have Tezzeret. Tezzeret has arrived.
Tezzeret arrive.
Tezzeret arrive.
High five.
And he's a you know, kind of a little bit different. He doesn't fit our our typical, you know, planeswalker you know, dynamic of plus card advantage, minus kill a creature.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, and then like ultimate.
Kinda. He's like plus mana advantage.
Yeah. So
minus kill a creature.
So he is Tezzeret the Schemer. And he is a 4-mana planeswalker. He is 2 generic blue-black. And he comes in with 5 loyalty, which is, you know, actually relatively high when you know, all things considered. So his +1 is create a colorless artifact token named Ethereum Cell. with tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So he makes gold.
It makes lotus petals.
Yeah.
He makes gold tokens.
Lotus petals.
He's gilding his enemies on.
Hey, do you have to tap gold tokens to use them?
I don't care.
Yeah,
Hey, I don't. Well, they're lotus petals.
sure.
You need to get the.
Does Tezzeret look like an artist to you? That he's like using his metal hand to craft like the expedition lotus petals, just like one after another?
Yeah, that's what you need to get.
No, he's a clump of gold, man.
You need to collect. You need to collect the invention lotus petals to use as tokens
As
for
tokens?
this. Yeah, that's how you know you're a baller.
And like you have to have at least like 6 of them for it to be worthwhile.
You need at least like 10.
Yeah. Okay. Fair
You
enough.
never know. You need
No.
to just hard cast.
You.
They like hard cast an Ulamog or something. You're gonna pay all these lotus petals. Ulamog.
Once you have 6 in play, then you have to look at your opponent and say, "I like gold."
Anyway,
like that.
No,
Like it's
he
1999.
technically is just making batteries, though, right? He's just like
your opponent's done that before. So.
He's just like I'm the new representative for Energizer is the bunny. So he just got a big drum. He's just banging, making some batteries.
Wow.
So like Ethereum, that's like from Shards, right? Shards of Valar. That's from Esper. Is that Ethereum is what they are melded
yes.
with?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure where we're getting the Ethereum cell from. But yeah, you have great token ideas for this card. Like we already talked about Lotus Petals and batteries, just Energizer. Just actually, you already have energy. You can just bring batteries to all your events.
I want to actually make mention the Ethereum cell is sort of interesting. If you read last week's Magic story, which had Rashmi,
Yeah, Rashmi.
essentially working on her. So she if you remember the card with the paradoxical outcome, it implies like Rashmi has invented a teleporter of some kind. It's actually a planar portal. Like she invented a planar portal. She during this story, she may have accidentally fallen into her machine and like seen like a bunch of planes and almost lost her mind. She was like, because she thought she was dealing with like phantom dimensions her machine had made as a way to move things. No, she's just moving things through other planes. And like Tezzeret was very much on her to get this done, and she manages to escape, which is awesome, and find Saheeli.
Yeah, and she breaks her machine.
It's
not completely broken.
Break it. She sabotages a little bit.
Yeah.
But like the Ethereum cells, like Tezzeret wants to take things from one plane and move them to another. Now, I do want to make mention. This could be like I'm the aliens guy from the meme now, like Phyrexians. But in the original storyline, the Phyrexians made planar portals to invasion, right? Get it? I'm as good as wizards at this point. And where was Tezzeret last? Oh, monitoring New Phyrexia for Nicol Bolas, which you already have mentioned by name on a card in this set. So I don't know why he'd want to do this, but it does seem like maybe Nicol Bolas is like, I'm just going to move these Phyrexians around. And if that's true, New Phyrexia 2. Coming soon to a theater near
Let's
you.
hope not.
Well,
Please,
go on.
no.
The Eldrazi ostensibly need to be done for a little while.
You know that Phyrexian mana, people seem to like that mechanic.
No,
so
this will be a new Phyrexia, a cuddlier Phyrexia.
Yeah, even if we were to revisit the Phyrexians, we would not be getting Phyrexian mana.
No, I know.
I said new Phyrexia 2. It's a new plane. There's no Phyrexian mana there yet. They've got to like complete
They
it
haven't
first.
figured it out yet.
Hey, maybe Koth will show up.
Eureka!
Kothwatch.
Hashtag Kothwatch.
Hey, Kothwatch will still extend into 2017. Do not worry. There'll be a new hashtag, and maybe we'll have good news to report here soon, but nothing yet so far. But we do have some other abilities for Tezzeret. So
He doesn't just make lotus petals?
He doesn't just make lotus petals.
Seems good enough to me.
So we have -2. Target creature gets +X, -X until the end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts you control. So this is he can kill creatures, or he can, what will probably happen with this card, pump giant colossuses, right? Like that.
Jeez.
Like that's the point, right?
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. This
Hey,
is
it's like 99% killing creatures, right?
yeah. This is
but-
like the agony warp, but like
But then you just have the bad manners. I'm gonna make this guy very big.
very big. With
He's a very big boy.
with no evasion. Yay, still a good.
Well,
card.
no, okay. Well, then maybe you just pump your Sky Sovereign or something.
Okay, well, not more than 4.
Well, no, it's a 6/5.
I know.
Oh, not more than
Yeah,
4.
you just milk him for you just milk him for 10. I got a 10-1. That's right.
I'll block with the servo. Shut up.
It's got flying.
Shut up. Thopter. My bad.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Jeez.
You just shoot the Thopter
Jeez.
before you attack.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he did
Anyway,
2
yeah.
Thopters.
So this is killing creatures, obviously, but it is conditional. You have to have artifacts, but it is Tezzeret, so you'll probably have artifacts. Heck, he makes one, so come on.
Yeah, you have clues and stuff like that running around. So.
Right. There's a surprising amount of tangential artifacts that just exist
Yeah.
from clues plus.
Like Pianalar, making
Yeah.
Thopters, whatever. I mean, so many decks in Standard are,
You have this card in Standard called Smuggler's Copter. It's an artifact. Heard it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really wish this. So when I first saw the Tezzeret, I was actually kind of hoping for an Agent of Bolas reprint, and then having drafted Agent of Bolas in the Vintage Cube and made a Swallows Copter a 5/5, I decided I really wanted it. But and I do think at some point they're really going to have to consider actually reprinting some of these Planeswalkers in their big sets. And I know Agent of Bolas still would have worked here, and I get they don't want to do that, but as we've seen,
you don't want to spoil the story.
well, as we've seen with
Even
design
though you'd
space,
already
though,
figured it out,
Well,
apparently.
whatever. He's been Agent of Bola since he was mono blue. So but I will say that I do like this card.
Gotcha.
See?
Well, we haven't
To
even
the
talked
end,
about the
yeah.
ultimate yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just heard the copter and I got driven to 5/5s and
Yeah, I know. It's
I
hard.
jumped all over you. I'm
Well,
sorry.
This one
Sorry.
can do that too.
I know. That's why I got excited.
It's a little different.
So at the you get a -7 for his ultimate, and it says you get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with a base power and toughness of 5/5. Now, it is important to note this doesn't go away. It's not till end of turn. This is now a 5/5.
And you get that 5. You get the first one that turn as long as you do this in your main phase 1.
Correct.
So
So
you can live the 5/5 dream, which is what I'm referring to. I'm sorry. I got all excited.
I know, I
overstep you
understand.
there, Morgan.
But
Sad.
this is important with vehicles because if you just make a vehicle a creature, then it doesn't need a crew.
Yeah, that the way the vehicles are worded, like Smuggler's Copter, is whenever it attacks or blocks, you get the trigger, and it already has flying. It doesn't gain flying when it becomes crewed. So all it needs to be is a creature. So yeah it's kind of crazy how good this is. I didn't even think about it before. Things like Ensoul Artifact would also be really good on vehicles.
Very true. Very, very good. So this makes your Tezzeret, makes all your vehicles sprout little arms and legs. And they just drive themselves. It's all he's just a big
Is this like a transformer?
no, what he is he's a Silicon Valley technologist and he's all about self-driving cars. So this is what
He's
he's
all
making.
about
I actually think the vehicles gain self-awareness and are very confused for at least a minute or two. Smuggler's Copter, Drew? What am I? Why am I here?
Who's driving me?
Ooh, am I flying? Oh wow, is this me now? And then Tezzeret's attack, and they're I don't know what that means, but okay. Would you like to draw a card? Make sure to discard though. And I still know what that means fully, but I
are
feel
you?
it in my soul.
Who are you, Dreadlock the Man with a Claw? Are you my dad?
These imprints. That's awesome. Are you my mother? Hello, Mom.
Anyway, so that's Tezzeret. That's kind of what it is. People are pretty lukewarm about him in general.
To go, I actually like them though. The 5 mana, the 4 mana for 5 loyalty that ticks up to 6 loyalty,
It's powerful.
is powerful. You can build your deck so that the minus is pretty effective, and obviously this kind of reminds me of the Duretti that we just got in Conspiracy, a similar design where it made artifacts with its +1 and then use artifacts to kill with its minus. And this is a little bit of a beefier version, and I don't think it would be too difficult to set up board states where this is pretty good. And I mentioned to Dave, if you have a couple artifacts already, you know what I mean. If you play your Copter or Prophetic Prism, and then into this, and then your opponent has 2/2s, then you can tick down and just kill one, right? It's not great against Copter, which is probably the worst. The biggest strike against it is that it's not very good against Copter. But I don't know. I think ticking up to 6 mana and then ramping you from 4 to 6 is powerful.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see how the format shapes up. And, obviously the rest of the set. Hopefully it can break up some of the stuff we have going on in Standard right now. But I think it can create some interesting play patterns, like being able to play this -2, kill something. Next turn you can uptick and then cast Black Gear Hulk or something like that.
even more so, like this card, like turn it comes into play, ticking up. Like this ticks up into your Torrential Gear Hulk, like from 4 to 6, which is also an artifact.
Right. I thought of that too, but like a deck that wants a lot of artifacts and a lot of instants, that might be a little bit
You
of a
don't need that many
hard to
instants
ask.
to make your 5/6 flash.
That's true.
That
That is also something you can do, but either way.
Remember, 5 mana used to be only Avacyn territory. Now there be Gear Hulks.
Yeah. But
Ahoy.
Ahoy.
But yeah, we'll see. And I do like the fact that it starts at 5, so you can go -2 and -2 again before you have to start ticking up and be able to kill 2 things.
It makes it a really live draw off the top in a deck that's like, you talk about like the Metalwork Colossus deck. Like the Metalwork Colossus deck seems like it really would like this card.
Oh yeah, this is the card. They're like yes.
Like it literally ramps them into Colossus, but it also just like is a reusable removal spell off the top. So, and that's a deck that also like generally is actually equipped to do okay against Copters because they have tons of Sky Sovereigns and other such things.
Yeah, I do think there will also be a lot of scenarios where it's not a great top deck, just because the +1 in itself doesn't really do much. If they don't have creatures, or if you don't have enough artifacts to kill their creatures, the -2 doesn't really do anything, and the ultimate is kind of meh, in my opinion. But
yeah,
I mean,
the ultimate wins the game, but it certainly takes time.
maybe like
like I'm saying, like objectively, it does win the game.
Yeah,
because like you had to tick up to get there, so you have artifacts.
True.
So and it ultimates really quickly.
That's true. I think it's I like this power level on Planeswalkers. This isn't like crazy ridiculous, and it's it's not too hard to build around it, but it is somewhat of a build around. You obviously need to have some amount of artifacts in your deck to really get the most out of it.
Yeah.
So.
I think a card like this makes people want to build around it, which I think is really important as well. It's a compelling reason to have like an artifact-centric blue-black deck in this format. And there are cards. There's like the blue-black 1/3 or 1/4 that has like lifelink that is a very good defensive card that maybe now you have this
scries for artifacts,
right?
So
like
you tick up and you get to scry.
Like now you have this card that's going to be coming into the format, so maybe it pushes people to want to build and brew like that. And I'm not saying it's going to be definitively good or bad, but if it encourages people to look, then that's good. I think that's what this might be achieving a little bit.
Agreed. Also, fairly Emrakul proof as a Planeswalker.
Yeah.
Which I think is something to evaluate. Like if you tap for this guy and then they Emrakul you, like they can't maybe they can kill one of your creatures.
Yeah.
Right? But like they're not just going to be like, well, like even if they ultimate, like, it's not like Chandra, but like that's upsetting. Or like Nahiri, where they can just like really blow you out.
It is a little awkward if they go and sack up if they use all your batteries.
That's true, but I feel like you're probably
throw all your batteries.
I feel like
away.
you're going to use all your batteries in response to it anyway. So it's like, you don't get to use this. So I have to point, so we're looking at this on Mythic Spoiler, and this was spoiled in Chinese first.
The MTG Taiwan page.
So
it.
Somebody commented on this and said, "Where can I learn Chinese to be able to translate Magic cards?" Next response: China. Thank you, Internet. Sometimes I need that.
Yeah, that's great. Do we want to talk about any other cards from the spoiler? I can only think of one other card, which would be the Oath.
Yeah,
we should talk about it. Yeah, we should talk about the Oath.
Guys, we got a new member of the Gatewatch. So Ajani's definitely Tommy, right? Because he's both green and white. It's so great.
He's so ripped. I mean, look at those abs.
I don't know what lean in physiology lends itself to, but I mean, I own cats and they don't have abs like that.
You know that there's a large portion of the Magic community who really enjoy ripped looking men and really enjoy cats, and we're like, thank you.
Oh, trust me. I've been on the internet, sir.
I mean, even if you look right, so you can see a Johnny Steadfast. He's got some abs there, but you can tell in his off time he's been doing a lot of punches.
That's it. In his off time, he's just been
you know what? He's really just had to work through the death of Elspeth, so he's just been putting a lot of effort into his routine. He just work out.
He's just keeping himself busy.
Yeah.
I don't
know where planeswalkers get protein powder, but he found it. He planeswalked there and just went to the GNC plane.
He's just been
what is whey powder?
I would like to buy some pre-workout, please.
What flavor?
Blueberry.
Strawberry milkshake, please. Shut up.
He's been consuming a lot of.
Well, I guess he's a cat though, right? So would it be like mouse?
Do you have mouse flavor?
No, it's fish, man. It's fish.
Oh
fish.
God. We have all this fish oil. Yes, much fish oil.
Yeah.
All of it.
He's eating those lean meats, and
Well, if he's eating a lot of fish oil, that's probably why his
Could you
coat looks
imagine
so soft.
Johnny just like he's on our plane, he goes into like the Kroger, he's like, I demand sustenance. Oh, well, we have all this fancy feast. What?
yeah.
How many? What the flip? Ah!
I could just see him like instead of like a rock climbing wall, it's like a giant, scratch. Those like scratching things that cats have. He's just climbing it.
Oh my God.
Anyway, let's talk about
What's the card do?
Oath of a Johnny. It is a green and a white, so it is 2 CMC for a legendary enchantment, and it says when Oath of a Johnny enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and then it says Planeswalker spells you cast cost one generic less to cast. So, this is our second cheapest Oath.
Well, it's tied. I mean, Oath of Chandra's also 2.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, tied for cheapest next to Oath of Nissa, which is 1. And this Oath is weird. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, so ostensibly it stacks well, right? So the way they designed it is that if you cast it on 2, that's good because then you can cast your Gideon the next turn.
Yeah.
And then if you draw another one late, then obviously the counters are going to be better. But I also feel like it's the kind of card that feels like it smells like a trap, right? Because the more of these effects you put into the deck, then the less creatures and planeswalkers you can actively have in your deck, right? It doesn't work like Oath of Nissa does, where Oath of Nissa is just ponder, it gets you to your next thing. This is hoping that you've drawn it in the right order with the other things, while also not reducing your number of the other things too much.
Yeah.
Did I explain that succinctly?
Yeah, I just think it's just weird that it's hey, you want a lot of creatures in your deck, but you also want a lot of planeswalkers.
Well, I guess you want your planeswalkers to make the creatures.
I mean, you could have that with stuff like Nissa and Gideon, I guess. But
Green White Tokens was a deck fairly recently.
Yeah, and it's definitely making a play for it with this Oath. It kind of plays right into that kind of game that deck wanted to play.
How many dead draws can that deck have, though?
yeah,
I don't know, and maybe maybe it is a trap like you say, but yeah.
I just don't even in that deck. I don't even know that you would even want this card.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
typically-
certain draws where it's going to feel incredible. Like I said, turn 3 Gideon's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
The question really is does that deck still exist
Well,
with
that's
this
true
being
as
a
well.
card?
Well, they definitely want a Planeswalker deck to exist. Between this and the Heart of the Kirin, which you'd already talked about, which uses Planeswalker loyalty, it does seem like they definitely want a
Like an Oath of the
a Gatewatch deck that
yeah.
could. We saw this before with Deploy the Gatewatch, but it does seem like I've seen a lot of people say oh, your curve is turn 1 Oath of Nissa into turn 2 Oath of the Johnny, and then you cast whatever you want on turn 4. You know what I mean? Nahiri, sure, get in there. You know what I mean? Chandra, yeah, whatever, get in there. Gideon, yeah, sure, get in there. You know what I mean? And that sounds really cool. And there's going to be a group of players that desperately want to do that. And those same players are going to miss on their Oath of Nissa turn 1 and then play this, but not have the ability to cast even the thing that costs 1 cheaper on. I don't know. I'm sure this card will be the reason I die at one point because they cast their Gideon on turn 3, but I'm not convinced it's great.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. We will wait and see if this becomes a viable thing that you can actually do, but just a whole bunch of people joining their little club.
So is a Johnny really so we have the art book coming out right for Kaladesh, right? Is the fitness guide, the Ajani fitness guide coming with it then?
I
is that
hope
an
so.
Insert
Yeah,
I just want the
10 tips on how to get ripped abs.
I want the men's
weeks.
fitness, but then men's has been crossed out and just cat fitness, and it just got a Johnny on the cover.
yeah.
So what would is how there's P90X would just be Planeswalker
Planeswalker
90X.
That's actually what this deck is going to be called. If you make the Planeswalker deck with Oath of the Johnny, you have to call it P90X.
That's great. Yeah, please. And I know with the 4-color commanders, the big one is the Atraxa.
Yeah, this card definitely
This is
goes into
oh man,
Atraxa.
hey, if you get a foil one of these, whoo,
That is probably true.
that's probably a little lottery ticket that you got because Atraxa is just the Super Friends Planeswalker deck.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. But those are the two high profile ones that we've got to peek at from Aether Revolt. I'm sure we'll get So it's so weird. Like, what do we get on Christmas? We usually get a fairly big spoiler for Christmas.
I hate to say this, but
Yeah, we may have already seen it.
it may have been the Bolus card.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so that's why we haven't really talked about that very much.
But I figured like those would just be like the story cards.
They are the story cards, but I do feel like a card that mentions him, you know what I mean? Like we can literally talk real world here. Look at Rogue One, right? Like, they didn't have to do... all they had to tell you was that Vader appeared in it. You knew he wasn't going to be there. And I'm not... Nothing about the movie. You know he wasn't going to be the focal point of the movie, right? But just the sheer fact that they could just show, like, Vader meant it sold more, right? So Bolas, I think, works the same way. You know what I mean? Where it's like... Oh, look, by the way, Bolas.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we're also going to a plane where, like, I'm fairly certain that, like, Bolus will probably be revered as a god.
I could just be wrong. Maybe it's another Planeswalker we didn't know about, but I feel like, so this is where I get annoyed. If it's another Planeswalker in this set, I think I'm going to lose my mind. Because there's so many Planeswalkers on this stupid plane already. Like, there are literally, so what, the Gatewatch 5, now a Johnny 6, Tezzeret 7,
yeah.
Dovanbon 8,
Saheeli.
and Saheeli 9. Right?
You gotta understand, like, so so when you were like reading X-Men, you don't go, man, there's a lot of mutants in this X-Men comic. Like, that's the thing. So now, what do you think the Planeswalkers are? They're the X-Men.
See, even I know they've toned them down in current continuity, but Planeswalkers are the X-Men. They're Apocalypse. They're literal gods. They've literally been described forever as gods who they don't go near each other because historically, when Planeswalkers got near each other, they did what a Ajani and Ugin did. They beat the ever-living daylights out of each other. And then they're also supposed to be only so many possibly born on a plane, and most of them never become Planeswalkers because the spark doesn't light. Like, I don't like this, like...
Johnny and Ugin?
Did I say Johnny? I'm sorry, Bolas and Ugin. My apologies. Johnny and Bolas as well.
Didn't like a Johnny fight Bolas?
Yes, that's how Johnny and his brother fought Bolas, and Johnny killed his brother, and that's how the eye issue happened for Johnny and why he was so vengeant. Fun fact.
Gotcha. That was when he was...
But like that's what Planeswalkers are supposed to do. Like they are powers that like they fight against each other when they show up. So I know they've retconned this horrifically, but like yeah, I get it. This is the Avengers. But like I think like calling it like Oath of the Gatewatch and calling it the Gatewatch means it's the Avengers, not the X-Men, and the Avengers shouldn't always be together. They all have their own comics. Every now and then you get the cool one.
And they just haven't hit that stride yet. They haven't done that. And the Avengers does have their own line of comics. So if you only want to read Avengers stories, you could. And this is kind of what
but the Avengers
they're doing.
the Avengers then cycle in and out. It's not just like everybody pile in the clown car that we call our ship.
I will tell you, this is where.
And by the way, when the X-Men got that way and got that inflated, they literally killed them all. Like that was literally like Marvel went. How do we reset this? Oh, I know. No more mutants. Like that's literally what's happened the last 10 years.
I just think that you're probably right. But
I know I'm right.
The story that they're writing is not as well crafted.
Bad.
Yeah, it's not as well crafted as
bad.
comics, and they're not taking any obvious.
Bad.
They're not lifting anything from those sources.
No, Johnny's doing all the lifting.
That's true. Does he even lift? Yes,
yeah,
yes he does.
A lot. But they're not taking anything from those sources. They're not following in those footsteps there. But they are that's what they are creating. That you can't just be like, oh, there's so many Planeswalkers on this set, because I know that you have, and probably other voicelesses have other qualms with this, but Planeswalkers sell sets, so they're going to use them to sell sets.
Go ahead, Dave.
I just think, and this probably isn't going too much out on a limb, but when Bolas finally does show up, I think we're going to probably trim a few Planeswalkers. Might have to say goodbye to a couple. That's my best guess.
So here's what's going to happen. They're going to show up, but they're going to inadvertently pick up Tybalt, right? And they're going to go out there, and Tybalt's going to realize that he's the red shirt because he's literally red, and then that's who Bolas will kill. There you go, Star Trek fans. I did it. But all I will say is this: I get it. Like they want to pull these together, and there's definitely a group of people that really likes having them all pulled together. But you can't keep calling them you can't oh, look at all these flashy guys who a Johnny can exile someone with a hand, except for I get it. He sends them farming. I get it because he doesn't kill people, but he doesn't kill people. So you have these people together. We have all these powers. You have the Consulate, which is full of people but outside of Tezzeret and Dovanbon, who are not actually that special. On this plane, their magic usage is actively bad, right? Because they are all inventors. And you're saying they couldn't even stop Tezzeret combined. They just kind of said, well, we don't want to cause an incident. Then why are you here? This is stupid. It's so bad.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Whatever. I'm done.
I'm just
done
saying that-
ranting. I'm sorry. I know, Wizards, you don't care about me. I get it. And I don't. Maybe you shouldn't care about me, but man, like every time the story seems to go a better direction, then Christmas it'll be Rashmi. She ascends. She gets her spark because she saw the other planes. Why not? Let's do it. Let's get number 10 on there. What would it be like if we didn't have number 10?
So let me pose you this hypothetical. So what if the increasing amount of planeswalkers that we are seeing becomes like a story thread, and there was a reason why more sparks were happening, and then they find an interesting way to do that. Would that be something that you feel that they could do in a compelling way?
If that is what Bolas, if they could actually tie away to be like Bolas was doing this to try and zap all these United Planeswalkers' power to give him his own power back, and he was Mr. Sinistering all of them to use their X-Men, then sure. But it would need to feel organic, and it still doesn't. Because every thread that we've seen Bolas pull at, I get it, he's supposed to be the master behind all of it, but somehow he still doesn't apparently know what's happened to Ugin, right? We have Tezzeret zipping around, but we don't know what else is going on, right? At some point, you can't call it clever writing if you just are purposely leaving things sit so you don't accidentally walk over it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe I'll stop being upset about it. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's okay. It's a good discussion to have. We haven't talked about story stuff in a while, so. But yeah.
All right. So now the next ridiculous thing.
Yeah. So apparently for some time on Magic Online, you could play with this nifty little card called Gleemox. If you don't know what that card is, I don't blame you. It's a Magic Online only promo that was released when they were doing their Gleemax business and all that jazz. I don't know exactly the whole story behind it, but it is a sort of a jokey kind of card, sort of an unset flavor to it, basically. And it is a mox, so it is an artifact that costs 0 mana, and you can tap it for any color, which is of mana, which is fairly broken.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Does it do anything else?
It also has this other little bit of rules text that says this card is banned, just on the card. And they decided to do a little bit of editing on that card and decide, regardless of what the rules text says, the card was playable, and it was playable in Commander, Legacy, and Vintage on Magic Online. Because reasons.
This is just hilarious.
So I just doing a little bit of research. If you've not heard of this card, it's because it was given away when they did Unhinged.
Okay.
And this was in 2007 or 2008 when Gleemax, was first given out, and then Gleemox was made into a card. So you would have had to been playing for a long time to get that promo. So I guess if a person played against you got to tip your hat, and be okay, you have dealt with so many Moto problems. I will lose to this Mox for this game.
I probably have one of these, to be honest, just sitting on my account. But yeah, that's actually hilarious. I mean, that's just I feel like we should just make a segment of this week in Magic Online, fumble Rooskies.
So you showed that video of
Rich Shea was playing Vintage and his opponent played Gleemox. He goes, "What is this card?"
And you're
Gleemox.
So you could just take that video with his facial reactions and set it to Benny Hill, right? Just Gleemox, just tapping and untapping it,
So yeah, that was a fun thing to happen on Magic Online, and it is since fixed.
Yeah, they just fixed it an hour before we started recording this on Monday. So.
Which is, way too long, theoretically, to have that card, float around.
Well, ever is too long. So
yeah,
yes, absolutely.
exactly. So, I hope you guys had your fun with it. If that was something that you wanted to do, you get some free, ticks or what have you from it. I don't know.
That's pretty scummy, in my opinion.
It's the PTQ where it's okay, now we know this. What card was it?
Oh, it was Pillar of Flame didn't exile, so everybody played zombies, and you could play Dross Messengers, and that you had no way to realistically remove it, or you couldn't easily.
That was great. And they were please don't make your choices based off of this. And
guess what won that?
Yeah.
Oh, zombies.
Oh, awkward.
Yeah. You can't put out a broken product and expect people not to take advantage of the broken product. It's just not it's not a proper expectation that you can set for every human.
For humans,
We'll
yeah.
put it this
Yeah.
way. We'll put it this way. I wouldn't do that in a competitive event, but if I was playing like Commander or something like that for fun, I probably would be like, just like as a joke.
I
Like,
mean, if
throw
I
it out
joined a
there.
vintage 2-man queue, I'd fire it up at least once.
Yeah, who cares?
just to see what my opponent would put in chat. Like, let's be honest. Like, that'd be the entertainment. It'd be worth it.
You'd just be like scum.
Yeah.
And you'd be like,
That card is banned. Oh, that's weird.
lets me play
Like,
it.
oh
so.
yeah, I don't care. I'm still gonna play it in your face.
All right. Last thing we have on the community docket is a new Judge promo, and this one is a good one. It is Mystic Confluence, which is a Commander-only card. Was released last Commander set?
The monocolored sets.
The monocolor. Was it the
Yeah, it was
monocolor
like a
ones?
year ago.
Yeah.
This card is fairly powerful. It's pretty much a cube / Commander All-Star. It's the one where you can like choose multiple modes, and it's like Mana Leak is one of them, Bounce a creature is one of them, and
Draw a card.
Draw is just draw a
Yeah,
card.
it's just counterspell, draw 2 cards,
Yeah.
basically, or just return all your
Yeah, or just like
team.
bounce 3 guys. Which, that card,
So dumb.
I still like that's my. I had to like push pretty hard to make sure that like that cycle most of them ended up in the cube. I was like, no, trust me, these are really good. And I remember the first big boy cube essentially we got to do with those. I drafted the blue one and the white one. And I was just like,
Oh,
I remember
that was
against David, I was like, I'm
disgusting.
gonna gain 15. I'm gonna like bounce this and draw a bunch of cards. And I was like, have I proven my point yet? Because I'm gonna Snapcast through this one.
But yeah, these cards are fairly sought after. So it's cool to see them get a foil printing.
Yeah, like there's no foil of them because they're commanders. Like that's really the draw.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome to see. And not have to get it in like a Commander's Arsenal or what have you sort of vehicle that you gotta have an avenue to it in some sort of persuasion. But they're still going to be pretty rare. So hopefully you can get yours sooner rather than later if it's something that you do so desire. But that is everything for the community. And I think we're pretty much ready to go over to our competitive segment. Is there anything happening over the weekend at Comic Town that we should know about? It is Christmas over the weekend for those who celebrate it. So really not a whole bunch happening over the weekend in a lot of different places.
Also Hanukkah on Sunday, so
Yeah.
it's to everybody. Well,
Just everybody. Everyone.
Not everybody.
That's not everybody. That's really insensitive. Apologize to
yeah, sorry, I apologize.
Everyone
for
else.
non-Christmas, non-Hanukkah people.
So a lot of holidays are being celebrated over the weekend, so not necessarily a big Magic playing weekend. But hey, you can still
unless you're a Wiccan.
there you go. You can still
I
scurry.
apologize to all Wiccans.
You can still scurry away and play some Cube online. So
Yeah,
go ahead
yeah,
and do that.
yeah. That's the right call.
Moving on to our competitive segment. So again, over the weekend we had the Star City Games Players Championship, and it was a mixed tournament. So you had Legacy to start off the day, moving into Modern, and then a whole bunch of Standard. And Joe Lossett was the final Players Champion.
Joe Lossett was not the Lasseur.
No, he was not.
Lasser.
Yeah, no,
I tried.
No, it's good.
All right.
It's fine. So congratulations to him on his win. And what do you guys want to talk about from it? I mean, it's a small group of players that played in it, so really hard to glean anything from decks or anything like that. But I'm sure there were some interesting points. I didn't watch a whole lot of it myself. Personally, didn't have enough time.
I watched a couple matches. I think before like any even decks, I do want to mention that I know they're not doing this again, but man, it did seem like confusion as to how the tournament worked was sort of punishing them again. You had a lot of conversation I saw both on Twitter and Facebook, and honestly, had some of the Star City guys like responding to them in not so positive ways, which was weird. Like I saw a comment from, I guess I won't say names, I guess, but essentially like, oh, reading is hard was like the response to it. It's like, well, actually, this was difficult. Like we had an issue, like all Dave could find last week was the image of the players to like tell you how it's set up, and then like, going into today, going into Sunday, I should say, like they had like the breakdown of like the brackets, which made sense, but then at the top it still said like it had the finals thing listed where you got to choose formats, like the best 2 to 3 out formats, but it confused me for a little bit because then like I thought like just by reading that, I would have assumed that every match was like that. And then it's like, oh no, you play standard until you get
finals,
there.
Yeah,
but like it was just like, okay, so, like it was just it was awkward.
And like I understand what they're trying to do. Like they're trying to make it the most compelling tournament for really for the watchers, for the people that are going to tune in and watch on Twitch. So a lot of a lot of matches with things on the line. So you had things like even in day one, you had people playing for buys into day two. You had people trying to fight off elimination, multiple matches. So, I mean, I think for that purpose, this is probably the best that they could do, but it's definitely not your typical tournament. And like we talked about last week, with it being 3 formats, that's not typical either. So, I mean, you mix that together where it's like, okay, 3 formats, and then it's kind of this weird tournament structure that you don't see all the time or really ever. It makes it confusing, but the games were pretty sweet to watch nonetheless. So, I mean, if you were just interested in watching sweet matches of Magic, then you got plenty of that. And I thought the commentators did a good job of like explaining exactly what was on the line. So
they did a good job of that, but I think like just being able, you should be able to like peer in and see how things are going, and that I think that was difficult. And I think a lot of people were upset by the terms, like even like the term grudge match, because like they just like arbitrarily threw a term up here, like, oh, they're playing for something, I guess.
Yeah.
Or they hate each other from the Open Series, or they had played a really cool match in a really important tournament this year, and that's why it's a grudge.
Yeah, it's like a rematch.
No, that has nothing to do with it. So like it's just stuff like that where I think like they, for as good as Star City is, right? Like I just think they still missed the boat on some things. Where it's just like I don't think your terminology works here.
So you think they should have just kept it simple and just had it like almost like they do at Worlds, where it's like we're gonna do 3 rounds of this, 3 rounds of this, 3 rounds of this, and then cut the top 4.
Like the pool play is fine, but keep it simple like that. I think that their strength is obviously like the players playing matches, because you have good players playing quality matches with, for the most part, quality commentators. There's any team where a certain person was on is a lot worse, but it's not Uncle Randy, I guess. So there's that. But like, you're shaking your head over there. Do you not want me to? Do you disagree?
No, I agree. But,
okay, fair enough.
I'm not going to name names.
Yeah, I agreed. But, and they did a good job, but I think there's even some players, like, I was seeing Dave scroll through this, like Liam Lonergan, who honestly, like, was a nobody on the series, and had some really cool matches to watch.
I just got to say, shout out to Liam Lonergan, right? Because he was the most unknown guy in the field, right? He won the Season 2 Invitational, so that was how we got there. And when they did all the player profiles, so they would have, age, hometown, how many Open top 8s wins. They had a cool stat of like their 2016 record. I assume that's only just on the Open Series or Invitationals. Liam Lonergan's record was for the entire 2016 was 15-2-1, which was exactly his record at the one Invitational he played in. So that's pretty awesome.
But like he made it to the modern rounds and got to show you in a couple matches.
Oh, yeah.
So like man, you know what? He did he did okay in other formats, but like this is why he's here. Look at him play elves and just trounce people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so they did get to highlight a couple people who like really knew their decks. Like Lossett also got to see that, where his match against he was playing against one of the Delver variants for him to go 2-1 in Legacy. But like man, he was working hard to get that match, and just see a guy who knows how to play like miracles, so they did a good job of highlighting players who know how to play their decks, and then rewarded those players with buys. So I think like that is nice, but there's always room for improvement. There isn't this year because there's no tournament next year.
I think one thing that I really liked about it, and you could say I do think the structure overall was confusing and not intuitive for somebody, but the one thing that was really good about it is they wanted to highlight the players. And one thing that other tournaments in this vein, like Worlds, for example, they don't always get to highlight all the players. So like Worlds is like, if you do bad at Worlds, you may not even get on camera at all. And they did a really good job at highlighting all the players no matter what. So even like Andrew Tenjum didn't have a great weekend. He was one of the first ones out, but he did have a feature match at one point. Like you said, Liam Lonergan was one of the lesser known guys, but he was in there at least once, if not twice. So, I mean, even if you maybe didn't have the tournament that you wanted, you were at least getting some camera time. And another thing they did is they did deck techs with everybody. So they did 16 deck techs, one for each player, across a variety of formats. So I don't know how many per format there were, but everybody got a chance to do a deck tech. So they got to pick. I'm assuming they got to pick whatever their favorite deck or whatever it was, and kind of highlight that. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
But to go back on that though, 3 times I watched a player lose, get like knocked out of the tournament, and then their deck tech was immediately afterwards. And I'm like, that doesn't make me want to play their deck. I just want you to know, watching them get trounced on camera and knocked out of the tournament doesn't make me want to play their deck.
That was a little bit of awkward timing, yeah, for sure. But
happened multiple times.
Maybe they figured like, oh, we better show this now because they're not going to be in the tournament
It'll be
anymore.
irrelevant afterwards.
Yeah. But
Awkward.
Yeah.
Were there any kind of decks that were kind of standing out? I know that Hooglin got a lot of coverage for playing Lurin.
That was sweet. Oh man, I love that deck.
That's like not surprising either because he knew he was going to play like some non-brainstorm
deck.
deck.
He 3-0'd, didn't he?
Yeah.
He either 3-0'd or 2-1.
2-1,
He won
yeah,
a spot.
Yeah.
So like, that was insane, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I got to give Joe Lossett props for his standard deck. He was playing red-green energy with the pummelers, and that's somewhat of a gambit. But if you figure that people are going to still be on Aetherworks, because the last time we had a standard tournament, Aetherworks was kind of the big breakout, and if you figured that people are still going to be on that deck and not on
Delirium,
the next, I guess the deck that beat
Yeah.
Aetherworks, then the red-green energy deck was a great call. And he did really well in standard with it. He obviously is considered to be a legacy specialist, and I think he did really great in legacy with miracles, of course. In modern, he didn't do that great, but he really cleaned up in standard, and he got himself a bye into day 2, and then just really didn't stop from there. Just kind of just went through everybody.
I gotta say, looking at that standard metagame, Panharmonicon would have been a good call. Just saying.
I don't think anybody played Panharmonicon, right?
No,
There wasn't even one.
But like, it's really good against the energy deck, and it's good against Aetherworks. So I think like, just saying, should have fired up them harmonicas.
Yeah.
Should I start playing the blues?
Yeah, you saw Brad Nelson and Todd Anderson. I think we're pretty much in sync with what the decks that they were playing.
They tested together,
yeah,
right, and then because like the people from Roanoke broke into 2 groups.
Yeah, Tom Ross he kind of did his own thing.
He was supposedly testing with Jerry, but they didn't end up singing their list.
Yeah, they weren't synced up, but I believe Brad Nelson and Todd Anderson were playing the same lists in each format, or at least the same decks. And they kind of went in standard. They went with the black green aggressive version, kind of like what Eric Froelich played at the Pro Tour. And I believe they were kind of going for, okay, well, if Aetherworks is the best deck, then people are going to maybe play something like Blue-White Flash or maybe like the Esper Aggro deck to try to beat Aetherworks. And then we're going to play this black-green deck that beats these other decks. But unfortunately for them, the metagame didn't really break that way, and people were still on Aetherworks for the most part, so they kind of got blown out.
Yeah, I called that.
Yeah.
Just saying. I also think that's because even the aggressive matchups that are good against Aetherworks still just sometimes lose to the turn 4, and people were just okay with playing the deck that they knew. Like, you saw like Bao, like I said.
Like Bao, yeah.
So.
Yep, you saw several teamer versions. And
I gotta say, like, Anderson won a pretty impressive match. I remember playing the black green deck against 2. I'm trying to remember when he was on camera on day D2. But like watching Brad's match, Brad Nelson played against Jacob Bao. And that was the green black match. And man, watching if you just go back and watch that game 3 or Bao mulligans into a hand that's just lands and an Emrakul, and watch him he hit some good draw steps for sure. But the second he turns the corner, there's literally nothing the black green deck could do. I said in show chat, I was really surprised at this deck choice. I understand they made a metagame call, but it's rare to see Brad Nelson so wrong about a metagame call, because that deck could offer no fight against the Aetherworks deck, which it started churning.
Yeah, he was on Twitter. He's like, I just got dogged on the call that he made for the tournament.
Yeah.
So.
And I think he realized it too, because Brad Nelson had a great day 1. I think he only lost one match.
He went undefeated in Legacy for the 3rd year in a row, right? Did they say that?
Yeah, the easy 3-0-6-0. I think he just lost one match in Modern on day 1, and he had a bye in day 2, and he had a great day 1, but he kind of saw how the metagame was shaping up. He's like, oh, this deck was not the right choice for this one. So I think he kind of knew that, things would have to break really favorably for him to be able to make it.
Yeah, and they did not.
But I don't know. It was a pretty enjoyable tournament. I'm sad that they're not going to be doing it anymore.
Are you sad?
I am. No,
Like,
I
do you
think
like tomorrow, but like not tomorrow, but like next year you'll could be around this time. You'll be like, man, I wish they had the Players Championship.
I think it's sweet. I mean, there was literally nothing else going on. I mean, it was a cool weekend where like this was the highlight. You know, there was no GPs. We didn't have pre-releases or anything like that. It was just kind of this was it. And you know, I think Star City did a great job in covering it. Like I said, and they highlighted all the players. I think that's kind of what they wanted to get out of it. So.
Yeah, I think it's sad that we'll be back next year is strong, just because I don't think like the tournament was. And I think that's honestly, I think it's what Morgan's alluding to is the exact reason that Star City's not running it again. The average player didn't get anything out of it. Now they hit over 10K viewers a couple times, which is okay, but they do that for opens and invitationals. So
Okay.
why are they paying out this money? Now, I understand they wanted to build their tour, but with invitationals giving out Pro Tour invites now, then like. The invitationals are the events you highlight, and that's why they changed their season. So I think this event, while is cool and unique, is fairly worthless outside to those who were chasing the money.
Well, hopefully,
I mean, by definition, it is so.
Hopefully, they are able to replace this with something else, whether that be another invitational or.
Nope.
Man,
They aren't.
You know, it would be
They
great.
are cutting an invitational next year. Here's the problem: this tournament pays out a ton of money for a tournament series that isn't making the money it was a few years ago. It's just the cold hard truth. Unless A, players re-engage with the opens more, or B, they reconsider their 2-day format they've gone to and go back to the single formats, which, you know, depending on how the numbers turn out, like the 1-day standard, 1-day modern, because that's what it would be, is pretty alluring, actually.
Do you think they would do that and like just cap them?
Yeah, I think they would.
Yeah.
I think that if it continues to go this way, I think they will, because they just haven't. They've set all these caps, like they should be an exciting thing to hit for their 2-day events, and have not come anywhere close to hitting one. I mean, I top rated an open that was 100 people smaller than the invitational it was attached to. Call it what you will. Oh, it was RPTQ weekend. Oh, there were these 2 huge football games. Yeah, because that's a demographic that constantly, cannibalizes Magic players. No one came to that tournament.
Yeah.
No one. You had a 60-person standard classic. Like in a 60-person standard classic, the amount of money they're giving out, unless everyone takes foil tokens with their prize tickets, okay, they are hemorrhaging money.
All right.
So if this event allows them to keep the series continue going the way I want it to, so I can keep grinding their tournament series, then I do not care about this tournament. Does it mean that like you might see less of like a Jerry Thompson or a Brad Nelson on this series? Absolutely, it does, because they don't have the payoff at the end of the year for this. You know what I mean? Someone like a Jeff Hoagland, who he does a good job with the streaming and this and that, but like really, this is what he banked his year on. I feel bad for a player like him because he literally was able to use the Players Championship to set up a Magic lifestyle. Like, I feel bad for that individual, but feeling bad for one individual Magic player on a tour that is, if you can't see that it's lost money because of the way they've made changes, then you're blind.
Hey, I'm not saying it's wrong for them to cut it.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to be sad that they're not going to have the tournament.
What are you feeling nostalgic for?
Yeah.
No, I enjoy watching the tournament.
tournament.
That's one less thing for me to watch.
It sounds like you got one less problem.
Man, you know, it'd be great if like Wizards, stepped in and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna do our own invitational, and guess what? If you win, you get to make a card. Wouldn't that be great?"
Yeah, I feel like they used to do that.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's too bad.
I thought you were going to make a Pro Tour joke there, by the way.
No. This is a literal like invitational that actually people cared about and mattered.
It's true. So I just got to say one last thing about this. The interview with Joe Lossett after he won was so great. And if you haven't seen it, like you should go back and watch it because he was just so happy, and you know he couldn't say enough good things about the SGG tour, and like he's saying stuff like, you know, if this was happening on the same weekend as the Pro Tour, he would skip the Pro Tour to play in this tournament. So you could tell that it really meant a lot for him, and he's somebody who. He's the only West Coast player that's played. He's been in all 3 of these things, and you know, Star City's been primarily on the East Coast, especially now. But even before, you know, they had a couple stops on the West Coast. But this guy has been grinding, you know, SCG tournaments for years now, and you got to imagine, you know, he's taking a lot of time just to fly across the country, every other week.
I understand the importance to the individual players qualified for that.
Right.
I don't. This is upsetting for them, as it probably should be. You know what I mean? Like, this is what the tour pushed up to. But the writing's on the wall. Did you see how many stops there are for regionals in February?
Oh yeah, they cut that down.
They cut that down.
Yeah.
There's only 12 stops now. I think it was 13 or 14 before. But if you look at the map too, it's even further east.
Yeah,
they're just receding.
And again, I'm not disagreeing.
Their hubris has caused them to.
Or a typical male hairline. I don't know to tell you.
Typical?
Yeah, typical.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know if it's typical or not. I want it to be typical for my own benefit.
I was going to say typical or just Morgan.
Me and Mike just look at each other like,
Yeah.
what's he talking about? I don't know.
Whatever. I can't help my jeans aren't good enough.
I mean, I'm fat because of my jeans. So.
I'm getting there too, buddy. Don't worry. Just rolling all the critical misses over here.
Oh, it's a weird place to say rolling.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Had to be done.
No, I'm not disagreeing with what Star City's doing. Obviously, they've been in the business long enough and they know what they're doing as far as the business side of things. So I get it, but I'm still sad that there's not going to be a Players' Championship going forward.
I literally won't care.
Yeah,
I won't miss it at all.
Okay.
I won't be like, wow, I should be watching Magic right now, because I'll probably just be doing other
If
things.
I win the Season 1 Invitational next year, I'll be a little upset then. Then I'll miss that tournament.
All right.
There you go. Then you can be a
get back to you
little
on that.
salty.
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right. Let's move out of competitive and go into the question of the week, which is I think is actually a pretty good one. We're getting this from Twitter from none other than Cedric Phillips, a guest of the show, and he put out a Twitter poll earlier today, and I felt compelled to share it with the chat we have for the show, and he basically said that after watching matches in the Players' Championship, that he felt that there were some cards that were pretty bad in Standard, and they were Emrakul and Aetherworks Marvel.
No, they were 7-mana 13/13 Mindslaver.
Yes.
And actual wheel from the Price is Right.
Price is Right, correct.
It's not that they're bad. He thought that they were mistakes.
Mistakes. Okay, yeah, sure. Mistakes is what I mean. They're actively good cards, actually, but possibly too good, one might say. And he kind of posed the poll, and he said which one was worse, and he even had an option for too close to call, if you wanted if you wanted to cop out. That's what I'm going to say. If you wanted to cop out, but we want to pose the question to ourselves. So if we were to ban one of these cards, which one would it be, and why?
Ban in Standard.
Yes,
Right.
correct. No, in Modern, where they're very relevant.
Hey, you never know.
Ban on Frontier?
Just hasn't happened.
Yeah, ban them in Frontier. Snap that off.
Hey, there is an Aetherworks deck in
Coming
Frontier.
soon.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
No,
Sorry, good.
probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I think if I were to ban one of these cards in Standard, I would go to Emrakul. I understand that Aetherworks Marvel can do some pretty dumb things, and even if you're not getting an Emrakul, but Emrakul just feels like. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, where it's like if the thing to do in Standard is Mindslaver your opponent over and over and over, that's just not really fun. And
In the words of Sonic the Hedgehog, that's no good.
yeah. And I
Also,
feel like
chili dogs are delicious.
and I feel like if you ban Aetherworks and you leave Emrakul in the format, I think you're going to go back to a format dominated by black green Delirium. Before the Aetherworks decks kind of rose up to knock them down a little bit. And Emrakul is just kind of the top end, the top end to end all top end. So that's the way I would go with it. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Can I go with the cheap answer and just ban them both?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Here's the deal. I think Aetherworks Marvel is a fun Magic card. I think it is. But including it in the Standard format where you have Eldrazi Titans, and then honestly, we had the bulk of what the other ramp deck really look like rotate out. You know what I mean, to some extent. And now you could play a ramp deck. You still have Ruin in Their Wake. You still have Hedron Archive. You could play the traditional ramp deck like you're supposed to, and you see it not exist. Now the ramp deck is a combo deck because you printed something inherently
broken. Instead of ramp spells, you're playing puzzle knots.
Yeah, you're
ramping your energy.
And I guess like you could look at it from one hand. I think Sam Stoddard's article last week, where I think I like Sam, another friend of the show, guest. He said they weren't gonna like pull their punches, kind of, but I still think his article pulled punches a little bit, and I can't blame him. Like he's not gonna just badmouth like the cards that are out, but like after I'm done speaking this part, I'm going to look at that article up again because there was a specific line in that. That was it. It was literally talking about Aether Marvel. He said that when we designed it as a fun card, but we weren't trying to see how fast we could get things out. And when I read that line, I said, why?
Yeah, why
why weren't you trying to do that? That should be the first thing you do with a card like that because it's the first thing every competitive Magic player is going to do.
We talked about that on the the Palooza, right? Like we were just like. I don't think we actually thought it was going to be good, but
because we knew it's a little bit shaky, and that's why the newest versions of the deck are so much better, is because they have other things to do on turn 4 that are more consistent than just that. But that's neither here nor there. But quite literally, he says but we weren't trying as hard to get out. I'm like, that's just bad development. I don't know what to say to that. You make a card that screams "break me," and then you don't try breaking it in house.
When you make a card that says, hey. Cheat out, pay 4 mana to put this 13 mana thing into play.
And in my mind, and it was already mentioned. I think it was on that thread that Cedric had posted that they specifically made the new Titans cast triggers, right? So you couldn't just reanimate them, right? But then didn't make Aetherworks Marvel say just put it into play because granted, putting a 10/10 to play on turn 4 is hard, but if you're not setting your opponent back 2 turns on an Ulamog or a 13/13 where you get the Mindslaver, if it's just a 13/13, then I say just a 13/13, but there are ways to interact with Emrakul in this format that you could say, okay, you did this, now I get my turn. But instead, that's not what is happening, and I just don't know how. It's infuriating to think you didn't do that. And then when you ask, are these cards broken? Well, in my mind, if you didn't test the card to push it as hard as you possibly can, and it's doing this now, then yes, the card is broken because you didn't think it could do the thing it's doing. That sounds broken to me, does it not?
Yeah.
And in Emrakul, like I said, we talked about before that my opinion of Emrakul is that I don't think that card is broken. I actually like Emrakul, but it's just there's too many of them. The one that is in Delirium does exactly what they designed the card to do, be an endgame finisher for control/mid-range decks. In the Marvel deck, though, you're casting them literally. It looks like every turn. It looks watch the Caleb Schur Jacob Bow match. It was interesting to watch. They had a lot of decisions to make, but you had a couple turn sequences where it was I'll cast Emrakul and take your next turn. I'm taking your next turn. Okay, it's your turn. Okay, and your turn you're casting Emrakul, which now it's going to my turn, which you're taking my turn. And it's why? I'm watching you take as many of your opponent's turns as they're taking. That's not fun.
This shouldn't be a 4 of in a deck. Is that what you're saying?
It shouldn't be a 4 of that you don't get punished for having more often than not.
Yeah.
So I used to get rid of them both. But I think the bigger offender is Marvel. If I had to go one way or the other, because I don't think Emrakul's a 4 of in any other deck, especially if they decided to ever print Graveyard 8. But maybe that'll be on my Christmas list.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I would lean again more towards Marvel as well, because you can for sure you can print cards that are meant to punish people who want to build a Emrakul deck. Now, theoretically, could you do that with Aetherwork Marvel? Sure, theoretically, but I think the decks that want to capitalize from playing that deck, or playing that card, are probably a little bit harder to hate out effectively, or built-in strategies that are counter to it. And it also affects the future cards you're going to be printing in Standard when you really break it down. But I think that you can have Emrakul in the format and it not be broken, because you could just print a Graveyard Hate card, and then suddenly that card's not that bad, and it can't be played in 4-ofs and stuff like that. But Marvel really pushes that kind of strategy. So if you ban Marvel, would Green Black Delirium get more powerful? Yes, but that deck you can very easily put a card in the next set to hamper that deck's inherent power.
Sorry, what? I coughed.
We didn't get there yet. Just hold that thought.
But and you could say the same thing, potentially about Aetherworks Marvel. But I feel like, yeah, you could put pin the needle in the next set in Aether Revolt, and then like Aetherworks Marvel is definitely hampered as to what it can potentially do. But that completely shuts down that decks potentially game one strategy, creates all the dead cards in their deck and stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe we don't need to ban cards. When it really comes down to it, maybe we just need to introduce more counters to what is going on instead of having like nothing.
Yeah, I don't think they will ban anything. I think we'll have to see what. Yeah, I think we'll have to see what happens with Aether Revolt, but I think it's an interesting, I guess, thought experiment where it's like, what would happen if one of these cards were to get banned? And I think the format would open up and be more interesting if we didn't have Emrakul.
I think I think you could say the same things for both. In all honesty, if you banned one of these cards, then it would allow other decks to exist that currently cannot within the format.
I also think currently, like looking ahead to future sets, Aetherworks Marvel hampers what can be printed in the next 2 blocks.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sorry, I misheard. Man, I'm really bad about this today. I'm really sorry. I don't normally do that bad.
Yeah, it's sort of the conundrum with Modern, how like there's so many cards that exist in Modern that have
But
weird.
they don't test that.
No, they don't.
Ostensibly, they test this.
For what we know, they don't really test it in Standard.
I want to refer to that for a second, by the way, because I pulled it up, which is I apologize.
No, go ahead.
But he was actually talking about Emrakul, but said we played with her a lot and liked her as a top end Standard finisher, but we were not going as hard as the real world in trying to turbo her out.
Wow, so they weren't going hard in the paint.
Yeah, they didn't go ham sandwich, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Why? Why not?
I mean,
that card screams go ham sandwich.
I mean, she likes ham sandwiches.
She probably likes a lot of things, to be fair.
She's
13-13. She's got to eat a lot of stuff.
I don't know where you find
mainly
a ham
people's
sandwich
turns,
like her size. Maybe that's what Steve does all day. Is mix ham sandwiches.
You know what? I like the character of Steve being a good stay-at-home husband.
Maker, yeah. He's just like, you know what? Like, honey, don't forget your bagged lunch, and it's 50 bags with 50 ham sandwiches.
I really feel like culturally we need more like strong like stay-at-home like dads and like homemakers in like a
who's gonna watch the hatchery?
Right, exactly.
I mean, Dad's got to do it.
Yeah, good old Papa Steve.
The hatchery definitely has like weird alien connotations on it, like give me a hug, not that kind of hug. not a face hug. Don't want that face hug.
But yeah, I enjoy Steve, the homemaker, as it were.
Oh man, the old homestead on it's on Bant or something. It's just like really nice. Oh man.
But now we can make a Steve card because we now have a title for him to some persuasion. So like Steve,
like homemaker extraordinaire or something like that.
Well, it's like Steve, the watcher of the roost. How about that?
Maker of ham sandwiches.
Steve, sandwich artist.
Yeah.
Now we've well, all right.
He makes this really nice club sandwich that he uses a torch to toast it.
Is sandwich artisan better?
I guess I like the idea that he's definitely making sandwiches that have a lot of meat coming out the sides, and then puts the olive eyes on it, and then he's like, "Look, it's you, honey."
It's a face.
No.
And then she goes, "That's not funny, Steve."
I tore the aeons for this.
Smacks him in the arm, and he goes flying across the room.
Oh no, I don't like this depiction of Emrakul with domestic violence. That's
not like domestic violence. Oh, you're so silly, and then she hits him,
and then
he goes flying.
But she can't control her, her giant
she's too strong. Yeah.
So she's.
I'm not saying it's oh, Steve.
No.
Okay.
Iron said in no way, shape, or form promotes domestic violence towards. Well, I mean,
towards Steve.
Yeah, towards Steve. Definitely not towards Steve or anyone else for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
No creature-on-creature violence. We're all Pillow Fort supporters over here.
Spear of safety. You cannot.
It's mainly
attack because I control too many enchantments.
It's all fogs and darkness, holy days, ethereal haze.
Sounds like a song.
Just a constant mist.
Yeah.
Buyback.
Yep, pretty much. Just all of it. Moments peace.
Flashback.
How many more fog variants can we name? That's all I got.
Oh man.
Fog bank probably counts.
Keywords.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of them had buyback, one had flashback.
Yeah.
That's like if it was a song, it'd be like in the background. You'd be like, flashback.
No, it's definitely there's definitely an Eagles song where it's like, "Yo, constant miss, buyback, buyback, bow, bow, buyback."
But if I ever did have a
I think
magic,
it's the Shoes song, if I remember correctly, it's those shoes.
but if I did have a magic band that was themed around Magic the Gathering, it would definitely be Holy Days, Ethereal Haze.
It sounds like it does sound like a Led Zeppelin album.
Yeah, or like I really feel like Jimi Hendrix was like,
Yeah, that's what I was kind of
The
picturing.
purple ethereal haze.
yeah, he's like, Ethereal Haze. Nah, purple's better. I like purple.
Okay, we got well off the track. Can we go into our next topic?
Yeah, I think we've kind of gone through a question of the week. But in general consensus, I don't know how I expect us to see, a banning in standard. It doesn't feel like oppressive enough. I never played during the days of Stoneforge Mystic, Jace, or Skull Clamp, or anything other busted stuff that happened in standard well before my time, and I don't feel like it even comes close. Those sort of things even come close to what we're seeing right now in standard. Standard's not very interesting to me right now, but I don't feel like it's genuinely toxic.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you get a ban with Aether Revolt. They're going to, and Sam alluded to in that article, there are some things in Aether Revolt that are going to help the Copter and the Aetherworks problem. So I guarantee they'll allow that set to at least come out. If you would see a ban, it would be with the next set. And I just doubt it in standard.
And I bet there's a card that's like do something and then like drain all your opponent's energy or something like that.
Like energy, like lost energy meltdown.
Right. Yeah. Homer Simpson at the helm is what it is, basically. Yeah.
It's an artifact called Siphoning Tube. It's just like Gremlins going up to like the gas tank and just be like,
Pretty much.
don't look up how to siphon if you don't know how to siphon. It's illegal.
All right. Well, enough with the question of the week. We can go ahead and comfortably go into our Christmas wish list. We definitely are excited to see what sort of happens with Aether Revolt and what could potentially show up. What?
Do you hear that? Is something on the roof?
No, it's your glass bang on the table. Stop trying. I like this bit. This bit's bad.
Why are you breaking the illusion? There could be children listening.
It's a bad bit.
Wow. All right. Fine.
Children shouldn't be listening to this. I mean, it's clean, but
there's no range of the fly.
it's not very entertaining for children. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. I think this episode's been pretty entertaining.
Yeah, for things you hear and probably things you don't get to hear,
Continue
unfortunately.
without the seasonal enchantment.
Yeah, sorry, no seasonal enchantment over here. It's hard to have it's hard to be a little bit festive this year in 2016. 2016's been a rough year.
But I was trying before you cast your disenchantment.
Well, I'll be Scrooge this year, and I'll be visited by 3 ghosts and then recant myself and change my ways.
So which 3 ghosts? Geist of St. Traft,
Yeah.
Anafenza.
Yep.
So like a spectral procession, if you will?
Yeah, basically.
Who's the third?
Maybe
It's like
Kataki?
Skulking Ghost?
Skulking Ghost. I'm just going with Legends. But
Yeah, you got 2 legends and then you have a Skulking
It's
Ghost.
definitely Brago.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's the saddest art ever, too.
Skulking ghosts. What ghost are you? Skulking? Not Christmas past or
I can
future
see
or
your
present.
head. No, not a skull. I'm sad.
I'm a sad ghost. Are you here to show me something about my present or future or past or anything like
You're
that?
gonna die sad like
Nope.
me.
Nope, I'm just here to hang out. Don't mind me. The other ghosts are coming soon. I'm just sort of here. I'm not even on the clock. Just hanging out. Anyway, so what do we want from Aether Revolt? Obviously, the Planeswalkers have been kind of out. They've been very meh, in my opinion, because none of them, scream aggressive or anything like that. And there's kind of like mid-range cards, and I guess that's fine. But so what would you like to see come out of the set?
All right. I'm not going to ask for a whole lot. All I want is good red artifact removal. It doesn't even have to be that good, actually. Like
Shatter?
Like, give me Shatter. Can I get Shatter? Like, Smash the Smithereens would be pretty... I think it'd be too good for this format.
Yeah.
But can I just get, like Smash the Smithereens deal 2? No, just Shatter. I'll take just Shatter because like I want to play. I want to continue to play red aggressive decks, and I want to have a way to interact with some of the really
That's
good
an
artifacts.
instant. Can I add that? It's an instant.
Yeah, yeah. Was it Smelt? Was that the one red?
Yeah, that was the 1-mana one. That
Yeah.
was supposed to be like the new standard, and then we haven't seen it. in a
Yeah.
while.
Let's get that. That's fine.
Yeah,
I think that's fine.
I think it's an easy to do want.
That's all I want. I'm easy to please. I'm not asking for too much.
So I'm going to ask for two things. One's a little more rational. The other one's it's Christmas. I want it. So the rational one is, and I've said it a number of times, I want some graveyard hate. I want a way to interact with my opponent's graveyard so that things like a person casting Emrakul, I can actually affect in some fashion. So that's my rational one. My irrational one is, you know what? We got Pia and we got Chandra. I want some like sweet like tag team card for those two. Like those two are like back to back, just like taking out people. Like Pia's got her hammer or what she has in the Pia's Revolution, and Chandra's like lighting things on fire. I want to see something like mom and daughter just like going like revolutionizing the whole plane.
That'd be sweet. I think like you could have like a really cool like rare that's like an instant or sorcery that's like deal some amount of damage to a creature, get a like Thopter or something like that. That card already seems way too good. Just like spitballing it, but
I will say like they already sort of swung and missed on this. I think a little bit like Cathartic Reunion was a nice piece of art with the two of them, but the story card, the 4-mana instant from Kaladesh, I'm forgetting the name now.
Pia's Revolution.
No, the one where you discard your hand.
Oh yeah, Fated Duel or something like that.
So, like that really didn't capture the flavor of the moment with the two of them in an arena against Tezzeret. So just give me something. Give me that epic moment that will bring all the feels and maybe be a nice piece of art I need to own.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I have no idea what I want for this set. Something that makes like
It's so hard to buy for them.
something that makes aggressive decks cool again. I miss that. I miss playing some sweet fast aggressive decks. So something that makes them a little bit more viable. So maybe the red artifact hate or something like that, and just something cool. Maybe like a more viable low drop. Red creature, aggressive creature in general. Maybe another cool vehicle. I don't know if the Heart of Kirin is that vehicle, if that's what they're aiming for, because I don't think it kind of fits that bill. So maybe something else that is worthwhile, as it were. I would like a playable gremlin. How about that? Give me that.
Yeah, how about a legendary one with like a white mohawk? That's really Christmassy, and you know it.
That's super Christmassy. I definitely agree. But yeah, give us that. Give us a reason to play Gremlins.
I don't think they're.
You don't think they were just saving all the good Gremlins for Aether Revolt?
No. Like I think there's a lot of people clamoring for like good dwarves, so you can play like Dwarves Tribal.
Oh, okay, that could be cool too.
Almost do that now.
You're missing a few though. You're missing
some.
You only have one drop, and like your 2 drops are bad.
So you have Motorist, like that's your only good 2 drop.
Like, but like it has to be like vehicles then, which like Fairgrounds Warden is like okay, like it's fine with vehicles, and you want to play Aerial Responder, but like you need something.
Yeah. So like give us a cool Gremlin though, for real though. Like even if it's just like sideboard.
I like a dwarf riding a Gremlin.
Yeah.
Like the vehicles.
I don't know if the sizing really works out on that one.
The vehicles don't have any more Aether, so like you gotta ride something. Veteran Motorist on a Gremlin. Veteran Gremlinist.
The Gremlins are not depicted to be very large.
Not the little Grubkins. The bigger ones, the ancient ones, the ones that live in the mountains, but they were chased out by the.
Oh, okay.
Aether.
So you're thinking of like some long forgotten giant gremlins.
Yes, those ones. Yeah, like catfish that live at the bottom of the ocean.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or freshwater. I guess what like lakes, freshwater catfish.
I don't remember these outcast gremlins.
You wouldn't. They're outcasts.
But how did they like survive without eating Aether in the mountains?
Oh, they ate rocks before they ate Aether. Aether wasn't there forever.
I hate how you can keep constructing this lie.
Yeah, then the Aetherborn came and that spooked them. And they spooked him back in the mountain.
Ooh, you ghosts!
The first Aetherborn was named Spaghetti.
Spooked you. Spooked you. I have 7 days to live.
Spooked you. What's this Aether doing? Is that a person? Spaghetti! Oh God! To the mountains! To the mountains! And that's where they've stayed.
Fair enough.
There may in fact be a gremlin that is a mountain that large.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Just eats the finest rocks. You know what? It could be a Goron. I may be getting my races mixed up.
And you're like preferred fantasy, getting your magic
Gorons,
and Zelda.
gremlins, they're the same.
Anyway,
Or Goros.
sure,
They got a lot of arms.
that's true.
Yeah, yes.
But we only know 2 Goros, and it's just, but maybe they like reproduced.
They could have.
Now, is that what they?
No,
They are Goros?
no.
Is that the race of them?
No,
They
John.
are
No,
Goros?
John. No, Dave.
Where
did that come
I don't know.
What did you call it?
Yeah. Dave's been replaced by John.
Well, so I had a very
This goes Goro with like.
I had a
this is gonna be
very-
flashbacks.
so I had a very long car ride with my brother-in-law, whose name is John, and literally,
Let's talk about Goro.
no, I just kept like he was just being really annoying, so I had to say no, John, a lot yesterday. So it's just like,
You were being really
Wow,
annoying.
thanks. Yeah,
He said no, John, to you, and not to me. I'm winning.
I guess. I'm
Yeah.
winning if the competition is being more annoying, though.
Yeah, well,
I'm winning.
I just really
apparently.
appreciate that you thought they were the Goros, like,
that's what their mailbox says.
like I'm
Well,
Goro.
the 4 mailboxes they have.
I'm Goro.
It's like the Mario Brothers. What was the female? Was it?
Was it a Shiva or
Yeah,
something
that
like that?
was Shiva, right? Yeah. Goro, my wife Shiva Goro.
But like that's not
Like,
like
she had to change her name from Shiva.
like people didn't ask like, what are you, Goro? And he's like, I'm a Goro.
I am Goro.
Yep. Yeah, Goro was Groot before he was Groot. Yep.
All right.
Did it. Figured it out. Well, that didn't go off the rails at all.
You're welcome.
Definitely on track.
You're welcome.
No big
Hey,
deal.
This is what happens when we don't have like tournaments to talk about.
It's true. We have to fill the void with something.
Can this episode be titled "The One with Goro"?
I wanted to call it Goro Goro.
Yes, Goro.
There you go.
So you gotta just go on the G's like Gremlins, Gorons, Goro.
Anyway. Well, that was our Christmas wish list. And now all I wanted is
Do you remember anything we even
just
wished for?
just forget everything we said and just put Goro into Magic the Gathering. We should make a Mortal Kombat set.
Christmas next week. You made the card. Goro. Just comma Goro.
Creature Goro.
Planeswalker Goro.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's weird. He'll fit right in with the Johnny. They'll be so ripped together.
it's true.
You remember the Mortal Kombat movie? Like
imagine how
Goro
many-
looked like.
How many chin-ups can you do with 4 arms?
God, you can do like knee
I mean,
ups.
theoretically, twice as much.
I hate you.
Anyway, yeah, that'd be great. It'd be a very exciting, collaboration between Forgotten. Who does it? It's not Midway, but it's still all the same people that made it.
Claim?
Was it Acclaim?
I think so.
But it's not them anymore. The actual developers, it's NetherRealms. That's who it is.
Yeah.
NetherRealms has a very exciting collaboration with Wizards of the Coast, bringing Mortal Kombat Magic the Gathering. And every time you open the packets, the Mortal Kombat theme song plays.
Sign me up.
Right?
Oh
How would
my
you not be
gosh.
amped? You'd buy all the boxes.
Yeah, like the box will just be like vibrating, like. Bzz, bzz, bzz.
I'll snap. I hope we've inspired one of our listeners to make a Mortal Kombat custom set. Because have you seen like the Star Wars custom set?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Just make a Mortal Kombat one.
You
Just
have to
do
go
it.
deep for that.
I mean, like they've made 10 of them, so they got plenty of source
Yeah, okay,
material.
That's true.
You can do it.
Plus 2 movies.
Yeah, don't reference the movies.
The first one's okay to watch.
Yeah, in a fun
Annihilation or
way.
whatever is like awful.
Oh, it's real bad to watch. But anyway, to kind of close out the show and end our random tirades, definitely want to let you guys know there really isn't anything going on this weekend. It's time you spend with family and friends if you are celebrating a holiday, or it is time to get on Magic Online and play Cube and ignore everyone else while they're having
Like me right now.
celebrating a holiday. It is not a time to play Magic. Apparently in a big stage or a bigger stage, but maybe your local stores are having something or giving back in some way. But it's definitely a time that you can kind of do what you want with Magic and explore some different things. Maybe pick up a commander deck or something like that, or try to find a new way, an interesting way to enjoy Magic this weekend. And then next weekend as well to, further extend it. Because there's also equally nothing going on. And we won't be there, so sorry.
Teach your family.
Yeah.
Find someone in your family that's maybe interested. Teach them how to play.
Yeah, sit them down.
That's your homework.
Yeah,
See you in 2 weeks.
Maybe get, the Planeswalker decks, and then, get the Chandra and Nissa decks, and then, bust them out, play them against each other. See what's what.
Yeah.
But like I said, we won't be back next week. But if you do want to reach out to us in any way, shape, or form, we will always be on the Twitters or via email or something like that. You can find us on Twitter. We're just at symbol your end step. We can also give us an email. It's at yourendstep@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. Just do a quick search for At Your End Step. Come like our page. Leave us a comment, and we will definitely be more than happy to talk with you guys. I know this episode has been crazy and all over the place. So if you want to give us some feedback on it, we would appreciate it. Have a good laugh with each other on the internet. While you're on Facebook, though, you can also check out Comment Town Gaming Center. Just do a quick search for them, and they pop right up. Follow their page, like their events, go to their events. It's a wonderful store, and we're very proud to be sponsored by them. And really wouldn't have it any other way as far as that goes. Trying to think here if there's anything else. How you can download our show, obviously. So we are obviously on iTunes. You can download us there or via the Google Music, the Google Play Store, I believe. And we're also on MTGcast, and you can go there and you'll find your new favorite podcast from there. It's a huge resource for every kind of Magic podcast you could ever want.
So you always say that. You got to find your second favorite podcast.
Okay.
This is your favorite one.
Well, he says new favorite podcast. I don't think... So you could read that as
it's like having two best friends.
Well,
you can't have two best friends.
I think he's when he's
Both of you are my best friends.
They're not replacing us in their heart. They're just adding. There's room.
Yeah, you gotta have
both.
you gotta have room in your heart for every kind of Magic podcast.
Give a little bit.
We're not doing a singing episode. I'm sorry.
I don't really want to. I'm bad at it.
Yeah. Anyway, I believe this is going to be everything for this episode of At Your End Step. We definitely do appreciate you coming by, and we'll catch you guys in 2017. Have a good one. Bye.